A creative power grab in WWE is expected after Vince McMahon's departure. We also have an update on Sasha Banks and Naomi's WWE status, and a former MMA star has made their WWE debut. More on that in a little bit. Ross, we're going to be talking about Dave Meltzer.
Why?
In the Wrestling Observer.
Why him?
Because on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, he said that he's expecting, in his own words, a power grab for creative control within WWE now. This follows on from the reports that Triple H was directing traffic.
He was the closest thing to Vince McMahon, Dave Meltzer said on last week's SmackDown, while Bruce Pritchard and Ed Koskey is a name that isn't written down there, but a name that I heard with my own ears.
I've not heard that name for a while.
Yeah, he was also there with Brucey P putting the show together, which of course was rewritten at the last moment because of Brock Lesnar walking out, but then coming back, and also the big thing that happened on Friday that Vince.
Yeah, fair enough.
People know what happened.
Now that to me sounds like a power struggle more than a power grab between Triple H and
who
Bruce.
wants to grab the brass ring out of everyone backstage. You would assume that with Nick Khan and particularly Stephanie McMahon in the CEO positions, joint CEOs, Triple H has got the lead. He's going to take it by a nose. Yeah.
Stephanie,
yeah,
of course. Well, you'd imagine that her and Triple H would be working together.
She might be a bit busy though.
Yeah, very true.
Doing
very
the CEO stuff, but I imagine Brucey P. He'll be on the list of people to go. That's what I would assume.
Because he's a Bruce man, a Vince man.
A Vince man, yeah. We're hearing these overtures once again about Kevin Dunn maybe going. And maybe I think Bruce Pritchard falls in that same category as people who have been there. Well, I know he's come back only recently, but of course he was there for decades beforehand. So maybe the winds of change could sweep through the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Possibly. So this power grab for creative control, you think you've got Triple H on one side.
Yeah.
You've got possibly Brucey P on the other side. Any others?
Vince Russo.
No.
Oklahoma. I don't know. Who else is there?
Heyman, but he seems to be content doing his own storylines or doing.
I mean, he's been bitten once before, hasn't he? When he was made the executive director of Raw, and that went nowhere.
No, it didn't.
Bishop
it was exciting for
there.
about 2 weeks.
It was, yeah. We thought ECW was coming back, but no. But no, Bishop shouldn't be in the running. Who else is there in the world of wrestling?
Oh, so not just people in the company at the minute, but who
what's
else
he doing outside hire?
We've got Tony Khan. Get him in. I don't know.
It's the end of discussion there, isn't it?
But yes, apparently also Vince McMahon's departure from the company, or from his active roles in the company, could lead to Sasha Banks and Naomi's return. This comes courtesy of Wade Keller, who's been reporting that Stephanie McMahon is respected by the women in WWE, and while she received mixed reviews in the early 2000s, it is hard to find people these days who'll say anything bad about her now, and the feeling is that she's learned from her mistakes and grown as a person over the last 20 years, Rob.
Isn't that nice? And there's also a belief that among some that Sasha Banks and Naomi return to the company is on the table because of Vince McMahon's departure and probably Stephanie McMahon getting on well with them, because as we always see, I think people call her mother, don't they? Or auntie, uncle, I don't know.
Apparently very well liked backstage, yeah.
But Stephanie just seems to get on with everybody in terms of the wrestlers anyway, and those negative reviews from the early 2000s seems to stem from the likes of Jim Cornette, who didn't like the fact that she was put in the head of creative role in like 2002.
She was also like in her 20s.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trust myself to be
not
head
at
of
all.
Creative.
Wouldn't trust yourself now.
No, of course. So I think that we could very much see them return, and I think it would be a huge boon, a bonus, Ross, if Sasha Banks and Naomi came back.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I'm not too bothered about the Women's Tag Team Championships because I've got no faith that they'll book them properly, because they've just shown over the past couple of years that nobody really seems to give a toss about them. Or maybe that is just a Vince McMahon director. We've got no idea. But Wade Keller's report adds to that Sasha and Naomi's issues are with Vince McMahon, feeling deceived and disrespected by the way they were treated. You can see why, obviously, because they were just there, weren't they? Just with the titles, but not really doing anything with them. So obviously with Vince going, they could come back in under Triple H and Stephanie.
I think it could certainly happen, and if it did, I think it would be very exciting as well.
They've got to do everything to keep the pair of them, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I think Sasha is obviously the bigger star, but Naomi's got the link with the Bloodline. We all wanted to see her in the Bloodline as part of that storyline, and it never really went anywhere. Well, never ever went anywhere.
No.
But now it could.
It should.
Get them in there. There should be a reason to get back in.
Yeah. They want to take down the company after being besmirched by them.
And Sasha as well.
Yeah. Why not? In for a penny, in for a pound.
Over in New Japan now, but at New Japan Strong, which is the American offshoot of New Japan Pro Wrestling. We've seen the first ever New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions crowned at Strong High Alert.
This is the most shocking result in the history of professional wrestling.
I'm not sure if it is. Well, I'll say what it is first, and then you can tell me why it's so shocking. Aussie Open, Carl Fletcher and Mark Davis, of course part of Will Ospreay's stable, the United Empire, defeated Christopher Daniels and Yuya Uemura to become the first ever openweight tag team champions, the first ever tag team champions of the New Japan Strong promotion. It's like a brand within New Japan,
branch.
isn't it? Yeah, branch, yes. Why is this the most...
Because on AEW, right, they lost everything, right? So that told me they're not very good at wrestling.
Aussie Open are rubbish.
Aussie Open are rubbish, yeah. They let down Big Willie the... You know what? Because Willie the C word, okay? Willie the C word, he calls himself for some reason. They let him down by losing all the 6-man tag matches they had.
They did. But it was a weird... I found it weird because I was used to see, similar to when Matthew talks about whenever Tony Storm loses, he's like, well, I can't believe that because Tony Storm always won on the Indies.
Oh, he did, pal.
Well, I always thought that about Aussie Open on the Indies. I thought they won quite a lot. They had a lot of success. And suddenly they turn up in AEW, they can't win a match.
Well, that's like the big time, isn't it? It's like when Albert Luque signs for Newcastle in 2005. He does wonders for Deportivo La Coruña in the Champions League, but the grand stage that was the Premier League, you just couldn't cut it. Just like Aussie Open in AEW.
Well, now they are back to winning ways. They won a multi-week tournament in New Japan Strong that featured former NXT team, the Mighty Don't Kneel, TM61. And also members of the Dark Order were in that as well. The Forbidden Door's just open house now. Everyone's going everywhere now.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Elsewhere, an MMA star has made their WWE debut. It's Valerie Lareda from Bellator, but she's now retired from Bellator, Ross, and signed a multi-year contract with the WWE.
She began her journey at the Performance Center, it's written down here, very whimsically,
really
on July the
isn't
19th, and made a debut at an NXT 2.0 live event in Cocoa, Florida. She didn't wrestle, but she cut a promo instead to the live audience, which is not too dissimilar from what we saw from Averine, who other people might know not as a Cockney, but as Dwayne The Rock Johnson's daughter, Simone.
Yes. Does that mean that she's good on the mic, or does that mean they're just easing her in?
I reckon it means that she
hasn't trained yet.
July the 19th. What's the date today?
Oh, yes. It's only about a week later, isn't it?
That's a long time to train and get a match out of you.
Oh, God. I didn't even pay attention when Yeah, fair enough then. So do you think when they sign someone relatively high profile, that they just go, let's cut a promo to get some news going about them joining?
Yeah, it must, because it is weird to be out in front of a crowd, isn't it? Like, we did a little bit, and it is strange to be out in front of a crowd. You sort of forget what your limbs are doing. I did anyway. You feel like you've taken some sort of hallucinogenic drug and your limbs are like floating around. You don't know what you're doing with yourself.
So is this to get them used to it, or is this to test them?
Bit of both. Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Fair enough. Well, there we go. Unfortunately, we do have to end on a bit of sad news as well, but in a way, it's quite hopeful as well, I suppose. But a GoFundMe account has been set up for Bobby Horn, known, of course, to wrestling fans as Mo from Men on a Mission. He spent the year going in and out of hospital, and apparently really struggled with COVID-19, almost came close to death, and then difficulties with breathing, emergency surgery for a hernia, kidney dialysis, and now pneumonia as well. He's just had a terrible, terrible time. The GoFundMe says Bobby Horn is the guy who would literally give you the shirt off his back and his last bite to eat, but he's now in need of financial support to take care of some medical bills because Sir Mo lives. So all the best to him, and well wishes as well to his friends and family. Hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah.
And have a Google if you're interested in the GoFundMe for Mo from the 90s in WWF. We'll be back with more news later on as well for video number 3.
By the way, if you didn't see it yesterday, we did a 9 pitches for a WWE without Vince McMahon.
We came in on a Sunday.
Yeah, Tom did a piece to camera, putting everything together that happened when the day Vince McMahon retired. Adam did a live stream, which I think is still on the channel. We did ample news videos breaking down everything that happened with Brock Lesnar walking out, walking back in, Vince McMahon leaving. Oh my God.
And you know what I like? I like how the top comment on our video from yesterday is, the lads have really done well. I was like, yeah, thank you for recognising that.
Yeah, I came in for 45 minutes the entire weekend, so I work really hard.
Thanks very much for watching. Check out video number 3 as well later on, and leave your comments and opinions in that comment section down below, and we'll see you very soon.